Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another monthly plan with me. In this video I will be creating my May bullet journal setup. I kind of went a little bit crazy with this month's theme, and by crazy I mean that I kind of just deviated from my normal color palette. I was just really in the mood to create something carefree and fun and colorful, and I really feel like the 1970s kind of encapsulated all of those details, and the 1970s is probably my favorite decade ever, from just the culture and the music. So I decided to do an entire bullet journal setup dedicated to that era. This setup definitely took me quite a bit longer than my setups normally take me to create, mainly because of all of the coloring and doodling that I decided to commit myself to for this theme. Normally my monthly setups take roughly about a day. This one took me a whole extra day to do. In fact, I think this cover page took a few hours just in itself. Although, to be fair, I am half distracted when I'm creating my bullet journal setups because I'm either listening to music or watching YouTube or Twitch, so my attention isn't 100% fixed on what I'm doing, but this still took me quite a bit of time. However, I love the results, so I guess it was worth it. So to create this cover page, I used two Posca paint pens, two Zebra mild liners, and then a neutral toned Tombow dual brush pen. I mainly use the two Posca paint pens for the entirety of this setup. The paper in this bullet journal held up surprisingly well to the Posca paint pens. If you're curious, I do use a personalized bullet journal sent to me from 𝒅𝒊𝒔𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒆. I try to include the links to as many supplies as I can in the description box. I was really loving how this paper was kind of holding up to the amount of coloring and drawing that I was doing for this month's spread. Even though this month's theme and color palette is definitely different to what I normally create, I still wanted to try to keep it in my style as much as possible. So I still do a lot of layering and use, various journaling ephemera, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed kind of going out of my comfort zone with using colors that I would never really use, but I was really in the mood to create something fun and colorful. I really feel like my journaling spreads are essentially extensions of who I am as a person and as an artist. But I know that not everyone is going to love the cozy and moody style that I use to create a majority of my journaling spreads. But that's okay, because what matters most is that I love what I create, and I love opening up my bullet journal every single day to some very cozy and dark pages. Dark in the sense of color, not necessarily dark in terms of theme, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoy this little kind of spurt of color amongst a sea of not much color. To create the title for this month, I decided to look up a groovy alphabet on Pinterest and then just kind of try to copy as best as I could. And honestly, I'm really obsessed with how it turned out. It was a lot of fun to do. and you'll see it quite a bit more throughout the next few pages. Next, to add some more detail to the cover page, because it definitely needs more detail, I'm just drawing out some flowers that I will be coloring in using my Posca paint pens. Another reason why I was really excited to kind of do something different in my bullet journal this time around was that I got to use journaling supplies and stickers that I normally don't gravitate towards for a majority of my spreads, including stickers from Catnip. Catnip is owned by the lovely Catherine. I'll put all of her information down below, but she creates the cutest stickers and the cutest designs, essentially the complete opposite of my style. So I normally don't get to use her stickers in my journaling spreads, but this time around, I finally got the chance to do it, and I'm so happy. So if you love very pastel, cute, kawaii designs, definitely check out her shop. Alrighty, next I will be creating my habit trackers. And yes, I'm not doing a Dutch door spread this time around. I'm using 2 full pages, mainly so I can just use my Poscas to the best of their ability and doodle these extremely repetitive squiggles everywhere. But they look so cool! Honestly, it was really relaxing to kind of just sit there and color in the lines. I feel like I really took advantage of coloring books as a kid, and now I feel like I don't have time to just do those simple tasks like working on a coloring book from cover to cover. But I do have quite a few of those like adult coloring books, you know, the ones with all those like advanced pages or super intricate designs and patterns. I really should color more, but I feel like my attention span is not that great. And I just always end up like doing something else. I would commit to something for a few days and then just never do it again for like the next few months. Is anyone else like that? I can't be the only person like that, right? Right? So I decided to write habit the same way I wrote May, with that groovy font that I found on Pinterest. This didn't take me as long as I thought it was going to. I think I just kind of got used to drawing these like weirdly shaped bubble letters. I had a lot of fun kind of deviating from like the same cursive that I normally do. I think it turned out pretty cool. Moving on to the mood tracker, this was actually pretty easy for me to figure out like what I wanted to use as a doodle for tracking my moods this month. I basically just decided to use the same flowers that I've been drawing everywhere because they are simple to draw, don't take that much time to do so, and I feel like it'd be cool to see an entire page just filled with various colored flowers. So while I kind of speed run through outlining these flowers, I figured I should kind of talk about why I decided to go with a 1970s themed spread for this month. Like I said earlier, I feel like the 70s were a really fun, colorful time, and I feel like as we go into summer, it kind of made sense to do something along those lines. But I also chose the 1970s because it is my favorite decade of the 1900s, I guess, which is so weird to say that I was like born in the 1900s, which makes me sound so old, but it wasn't even that long ago. But I think that love for the 1970s really kind of stems from my parents. They were teenagers during that time, and I can remember as a kid, we would just listen to a bunch of 70s CDs on the way to school, or watching a bunch of movies that were from the 70s, like Godfather, Saturday Night Fever, Smokey and the Bandit. I think I just have a lot of great memories that are associated with that era. And it's kind of like that feeling you get when you feel like you were meant to be born in a different time. For me, that's definitely the 70s. So yeah, that is my little spiel about why I specifically went with this decade. Speaking of music and such, I decided to do a spread dedicated to essentially like my 70s playlist. I was listening to a 70s hits Spotify playlist while I was making this spread. Obviously had to get in the mood to step back in time. So what I did for this spread is that I just jotted down my favorite songs, or some of my favorite songs, and then looked up the album covers on Google, printed them, cut them out, and then just pasted them onto this page, and then put the title, the artist, and then the year that they came out right next to it. Let me know what your favorite song is from the 70s, or if you have a favorite artist. Honestly, when I was listening to this playlist, I realized that Fleetwood Mac doesn't have a bad song. Might be a hot take, but every time a song would come up from them, I would just be reminded of how talented they were and how much of an impact they probably had on the music industry at that time. Besides Fleetwood Mac, I would say definitely the Bee Gees, Journey, of course. I just feel like I grew up on so many of these bands, and I've seen some of them in concert too. I've seen Styx in concert. I've seen Boston in concert a few times. I don't know, the music from this time just really makes me happy. And to be honest, I feel like I'm in the minority of people that doesn't enjoy listening to sad songs. Like, even if I'm not in the best mood, I don't like listening to sad songs. I want to listen to happy and outgoing songs. I mean, the 70s literally had the disco era. I don't know how much more upbeat you can get than that kind of music. Maybe that's just why I resonate with the 70s so much, is that I just really connected with the music, and that kind of flourished my love for it too. This was like a really long ramble about 70s music. I feel like I should have a counter of how many times I actually say 70s. Maybe editing Savannah can put that in right now, because there's no way I have not said it less than at least 50 times. Anyways, moving back to the journaling spread, which is what you guys are all here for, I decided to do a quick doodle of a cassette tape. And I really hope, once again, that I'm not the only person who knows what this is. We did have a few of these lying around the house, but we mainly had CDs. I decided to color in this cassette tape, cassette tape, with some colored pencils. I don't remember the last time I used colored pencils, but I forgot I had these Faber-Castell ones, and they are just chef's kiss, and I really wanted to do kind of a gradient to fill in that tape, and really like how it turned out. Alrighty, moving on to the final spread for my May bullet journal setup. I decided to do essentially like a mood board inspired by the 70s. To be honest, I mainly do this because I print out more photos than necessary for these spreads, and I feel like this is just a cool way to use some extra photos. And I also kind of am using it as an excuse to draw even more squiggles, because why not? I don't know the next time I'm going to pick up these Poscas, so I wanted to put them to good use. Okay friends, this is the final flip through of my May bullet journal setup. This honestly was so much fun. I feel like I say that every time, but I think I was really out of my element with this one, and I'm just super happy with the result. Also, after I finished filming this, I went in and added some of that coffee vintage stenciling that I've done in previous spreads, just because I kind of wanted to fill in a bit more of the white space. I really hope you guys enjoyed this super colorful and funky setup for the month of May. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Stay groovy, friends! I can't believe I said that.